So we've been talking about letting go and being mindful and intentionally moving forward. But there was a passing comment from Nick. He said, how do we let go of those things that could potentially make money? We do all these things, we have all these gigs, and then pretty soon we're stretched thin and we're doing all the things. Irons are in the fire, plates are spinning. How do we choose what to let go?
If you feel, what I feel like is, if you feel like you have to take every gig, there's some stigma behind this. And there's some expectation in the music world. I know here in Nashville, I don't know if I said that, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. And the musicians here that play on Broadway sometimes do doubles, triples, or quadruples, meaning they are playing one gig. A gig is 4 hours. They will walk to the next honky tonk and play another 4 hours. They might get one break. They play for tips. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But they feel like they have to until they get a touring gig, and then they're out and then they can relax a little bit. But you can't really relax because now you're on tour with a major artist and now you have to be on your A game. But then, then you're overworked, but you have to take all the gigs. And it's not like you're waiting for someone to discover you. It's you want people to contact you to be the person they know they can depend on. And if suddenly you're not that person, well, then you won't get another call. That's the fears. Well, then they won't call me. Well, if you're injured, they won't call me. Well, they know I'm broken, so we don't talk about it. So then we push through pain, or we push through all of that, and we ignore how we feel, which just spirals. And, so what is behind that is lack mindset instead of abundance mindset. It's that feeling of there's just not enough. There will never be enough. I have to do all of this or no one will call me. It's a bunch of bull. I'm here to say it's not true. You can choose what to think, right? And if you choose to think that's true, then it is true. You can also choose to think there's so many more opportunities. There's so many people. I only know a tiny fraction of the people on this planet and a tiny fraction of the musicians in the world. A lot of people don't know me, so you can just go on that. But I think a lot of this really comes down to lack mindset instead of abundance mindset. And then it spirals into all these other things.
First thing to let go of is fear.
Yeah. Well, I think it also, when you were talking about money, the question was about money too, right? Like, how do you let go of things that make you money?
It was along those lines. Yeah, we'd have to scroll to find it.
But that's okay.
Yep.
I mean, and I agree with everything that's been said, but also really thinking about what is enough. And I think that this is sort of to what Angela was saying about, I feel like I have to take everything, right? Oh, I have to take that gig. I have to take that gig. What is enough, right? Like, I think we can get in the habit of saying yes because we always feel like we don't ever have enough money. Have you gotten really real about what is enough? I don't know, maybe not. But we can live in that gray area of it's never enough without actually getting into the nitty gritty and figuring out, right? Okay, so I've made X amount this month. I actually don't need to say yes to any more gigs, right? Then the scarcity might kick in and say, but what if I don't get called next month? Okay, right? And then that leads to that conversation of you get to choose if you're in the scarcity mindset or the abundance mindset. And that also is a conversation of trust, right? Can you trust that's going to be okay? And if, say, that next month you don't get called for as many gigs, right? Can you trust that you have research, you have ways to make the money come in? Like, you can create, are you exercising that muscle of knowing how to get resources when you need them, rather than stockpiling up all of the gigs in April because you're afraid that you won't have enough in July, right? And then making your April like complete hell and like, I have to take everything because I don't know what's going to happen next month. I mean, it's a freelancer mindset, right? Of course, it's not, maybe you don't have a stable thing. I get it. But the only way to get out of that hamster wheel, like to break that habit, is you have to start, looking at things differently, right? Otherwise you'll stay in that habit. Like, and back to the thing, exactly what Lee said, the fear of, if I say no to that gig on my one day off in 3 weeks, it might be scary, right? But also recognizing that it's gonna be scary, right? If we expect it not to feel a little uncomfortable, then we're just gonna stay in the old habit that's comforting or that's familiar, right? Unless we do sort of get to that edge of our comfort zone, take a leap or a mini leap and recognize that, we have to keep the bigger picture in mind when we're so zoomed in, right? You're so zoomed in and gosh, should I take this gig as my one free day? I don't know if I'm going to get another one. Well, what's the bigger picture, right? What do you want to look back on in 40 years from now? Right? Like what's really important here? When we get too zoomed in, we lose track of that bigger picture, and that perspective can help us make some of those decisions. So what do you need to let go of that's making you money? Well, I don't know, ask some big questions, zoom out, maybe zoom out, ask some questions about, shift your perspective. What do you want to look back on? What impact do you want to leave? What legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah.
Right. And maybe asking some of those questions might give you some new things to think about. I don't know.
One other thought, just to piggyback off what you were saying, and Heidi said waitlist, which I thought was a great idea. What if you're not available for everything and suddenly you're in demand because no one can get a hold of you? What if we shift the thinking from they'll never call me because I said no into I'm not available. I might be available. You're in demand. I am booked up too much. They don't have to know what you're booked up with.